Good morning, I'm Nicola, a home gardener from Shropshire in the UK, and you've caught me on one of the best days, gardening days of the year. It's what I like to call D-Day, and that's because it's Dahlia Day. It's Dahlia Day because I'm going to be planting out. So I'm doing all things Dahlia. I'm pinching out, planting out, and then staking. I couldn't think of another P to go with that. So this video is all about pinching out. I love dahlias. They provide me with so much colour in an autumn border. Or late summer, autumn is where they start flowering in earnest and provide so much flower and flower all the way through to the first frosts. I had masses of flowers in November last year. So they're just fantastic for keeping things going. In a previous video, I showed you how to plant up the dahlias. So they, in the UK, certainly here, we have quite damp soil. It's quite a damp environment, lots of rain, and therefore slugs are a real problem. So I plant them up into pots so that it helps them to get established out of harm's way of the slugs so that they don't get eaten before they grow. So by doing that, we end up with nice healthy plants that can go out, and even if slugs now attack these plants, which are unlikely because the leaves are not as tasty as new growth, then they will still survive. So I'm okay about planting them out into the ground now. They don't need to be in their pots anymore. Also in a previous video, I showed how to get dahlia cuttings for free, and I took basil cuttings from the tuber base of sprouting dahlias that we had, and this is the result. So this is Milena Fleur, and that is a fairly good example of what's grown in that time. So I can plant this straight out and it will form a tuber by the end of the day, end of the growing season, and I expect it will flower as well. So that's a new plant for this year. Interestingly, this is a tuber and there's pretty much similar growth. So I have every faith that this will continue. This is the snowflake version. So this one here has definitely established. These ones I think are growing, but until I unpot them, I won't know. But we've got 3 new plants for that, and then we did the blackjack, and there was only 1 of those. But all grown and all looking good. But so this video is all about pinching out. And why do we do that? Well, our dahlias tend to grow upwards. So if you can see in this example, the dahlia itself just grows straight up, which is fine. But and I'm not sure I can, got a good example of where they're splitting out. If you get to see, so here we have one here, right in the apex of the band, you'll see 2 shoots there. So they are ready to go out and create extra side shoots. So if the dahlia just continues to go upwards, it will create really long, thick stems. So as you can see, this is last year's growth. They're really thick, and if you're wanting to use these as in a bouquet. They're too thick stems to put into a floral arrangement. So you want taller, thinner stems that have as much flowers as you go. So a stem that is just going to grow upwards and then will have the flower on the top will give you one flower. If you cut that off lower down where the shoots will come out to the side, then you'll get thinner stems and two flowers. And as you continue to cut in and make your cuttings for your arrangement, you'll get more and more flowers. And that's called pinching out. And that can be done on many different flowers. It doesn't need to be dahlias, although dahlias are the bigger plants that you notice it on. But you can do it on snapdragons, zinnias, cosmos, straw flowers, anything that has branching out flowers. Now, where a plant just has one flower and that's it, so say a single sunflower, then you don't want to cut off the cutting tip for that, because otherwise you're cutting off the flower growing tip. But in these flowers, because they flower on multiple stalks, you can pinch out and you get a bushier, healthier plant with more flowers. And who doesn't want that? So let's do an example of cutting it out. So I have all my dahlias lined up, ready for snipping. Not all of them will need it at this point in time. So if we look down here, that's a fairly small plant, not enough growth to pinch out just yet. Maybe I will later on in the season, but nothing there yet. Whereas this plant, obviously higher. So we're looking for stems that have got at least two leaf nodes on it, and ideally we've got the growth coming out of the side here. Again, these are too small, but we could have some that we're going there. So we're looking at probably about 10 inches in height, but it doesn't really matter too much, as long as you make the effort to cut it so that you get the bushier and more flowerific plants. So to pinch out, you need some sharp snips. So these are florist snips, or some sharp secateurs. I'm going to use my snips because you can get in closer to them. And it might seem drastic, but don't worry, it will make the plant healthier and better, and you will get more flowers. So don't worry. What we want to do is go snip down right in there we go, just like that. Let's do the other side. Not easy trying to do it with a camera, for the camera, and not looking what you're doing. But that's what we do. So you snip it out. Now you may think, oh, I could trim down the leaves and use this as a cutting. Unfortunately, it won't work. If you can see, this is a better example. The stem is hollow, so that will not form roots. So if you want to take cuttings, do it from the base of the tuber. So I could, at this point in time, take the cuttings here. So we've got thinner stems coming out of the tuber. Again, on the tuber, I would be aiming for about 5 stems coming out, growing stems coming out of the tuber. Anything more, take cuttings of. Anything less, leave it as it is. Don't take a cutting from it. And I think that's pretty much it as far as pinching out goes. I need to go through all of these plants, get them ready. Oh, one more thing. I did one earlier, so that the cutting that I've just taken is obviously fresh. And this is one I did earlier. And as you can see, it's still hollow, but it's dried out. So it will be fine. And as a good example, look at these shoots, new shoots that have come out. So that's 2 extra stems for the price of the one. So all looking good. The dahlias themselves look a little bit on the ropey side if you're looking at them and thinking, oh, what a state. Who's she to be talking about flowers and giving advice when you're looking at them that are looking like this? And that's because they didn't get watered for quite some time. Probably 2 weeks. If I know my husband, he was supposed to water them and didn't, and came back and they were shriveled up. However, after a good drink, they're all back to good health, so to speak. These are just dead leaves. They're not going to harm the plant, so it's still growing, it's still all good, and the plants haven't died. So we're good to go. Okay, so I'm going to continue to pinch everything out, and I'll show you the end results. Okay, it's now done. It probably doesn't look massively different from when I showed you originally. You might notice the pile of cuttings at the end there, but it's not too different because you do have to leave enough leaf to still remain so that photosynthesis can occur and the plant can still grow. So in this plant here, I've snipped off the top. Now in reality, if you look closely, there are 2 shoots coming out here, which is leaf load down. But again, because of my poor watering and these leaves have gone, then if I cut this there, then it takes off all the leaf at the top and we're just left with a few leaves to grow the plant. So I've decided to keep that one slightly higher until a little bit more leaf occurs, and then maybe I'll do another cut later. But on the whole, that's all you need to do. So there you have it, pinching out your dahlias. Easy, just need your snips. Get your snips out, get ready to snip out or pinch out the tops. Your plants will thank you for it. It does seem a bit harsh, but it'll be worth it in the end.